Another year's gone by. I'm so glad you're with me. The way you lift me up with the love you give me. It's good to know that you'll be mine when days are blue. Oh, what a dream come true. You are the only one.
Welcome to the Orange is the New Black podcast. This is season 7, episode 3, and brown is the new orange.
A new warden ushers in big changes. Blanca reunites with an old friend. Suzanne tries to mend Tasty and Black Cindy's relationship.
All right, so, well, we should introduce ourselves. I am Rob Southgate, and
Martha Southgate.
okay, let's jump into it. Any of the social media stuff we usually say up front, find it in the show notes. Find us on Twitter, find us on Facebook. You know who we are. You know where we're at. So let's jump into it. Martha, what do you want to start with?
Oh my gosh. I guess we start with Ward.
Okay.
She had them clear the shoe.
Yeah, very first thing we see is her clearing the shoe.
And she said, no, she was closing down. There is no more solitary confinement, which really kind of it hurts the guards because they don't have anything to hold over the inmates.
Right. Well, they were doing it all based on, like, discipline. And Ward's whole thing is the point, what she says, that the point of prison is rehab. It's rehabilitation. And you're doing everything based on punishment. So, yeah, the shoe thing is tricky. But at the same time, like, we saw what was going on in that shoe. When Red was in there with Gloria, look at it, broke Red.
Yes.
Go back into previous seasons when Sophia was in there.
Yes.
My God, it was horrible.
Yes.
It was used as torture.
Yes. I think that she could have perhaps found some balance, cleared the shoe,
And then had a plan.
and then build a plan that says if there is someone who is so violent, like Tasty has been, where it's repeat offender,
Right.
violent, she is a threat to others, then they go in the shoe. But you don't put people in the shoe for. We find other ways of dealing
they were using
with them.
the shoe as a means of basic discipline.
Yes, I'm saying there
And this
maybe
is-
a balance would be good.
This is also her first day.
Yes.
So she threw this out there, but she doesn't understand that as a leader, you can't just make a blanket change. You actually have to have a plan in place behind it.
Yes.
Now, not all leaders understand that either. So, I
Right.
mean, she's not like, oh my gosh, she's going to be terrible. No, I actually think I like her approach.
Yes.
And
But I think it's short-sighted.
it is. It is. Will that change? Yes.
Well, it had no choice.
And I
She
think it
has
already did.
Yeah, exactly. And Hopper had to step in and lead because she froze when Tasty and Battison were fighting.
Right.
Ward choked.
Right. She choked. She got hit in the head.
Yeah.
She choked.
She
was
had
like,
no plan, and she looked weak in front of all the inmates.
Yeah, right.
So not good because she didn't put anything in place for
You think
there
she
to
got
not
that
be
blazer
such-
at Fashion Bug?
It's so.
Is it Ross dressed for less?
You're insulting a lot of people on here.
No, I'm just
But
trying to think
anyway.
of Fashion Bug.
Does it matter?
Is there a Fashion Bug still?
I don't know, but does it matter?
No, it really doesn't.
She could do better.
She could do something that looks more professional. I'm just coming up with names
But
of places.
she's
I don't know any.
26.
I don't know any of them.
26, first real corporate
now,
job.
I thought that was interesting when they said she was 26. Like, you forget.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's really young.
Yeah.
You forget that because you forget how young Tasty is.
Yes.
So yeah, that was pretty crazy.
But as far as the other stuff with Ward, Hopper had to step in, and he's like, put them in separate cells, double up other people if you have to.
Right.
And he had to step in and do the job. And he had
He didn't cross her, which was interesting because his initial thing is the shoe.
Right.
he tried to make her look bad by saying, "Oh, you closed the shoe," but he did come up with a good plan. If he in the right circumstances, he could be a good guy for his job. The problem is, this is a really bad environment.
Yeah.
And he gets sucked into it.
Yes.
So,
and I think that for Ward, she needs mentoring.
oh yeah,
And
totally.
Fig did a good job.
Actually, I was going to say, Fig actually gave her some really solid advice that really had an impact on how she approached things.
Yeah.
At the end.
And I hope that Fig continues to
I do too.
talk to her, because I think that she really needs a mentor. I also think that I loved her at the end when
She took charge.
when she took charge, and she really took charge and
She even
owned it.
took the chair that Hopper was sitting in.
Yes.
Like, nope, take that up to my office.
I love that.
yeah. When
So
did you
I was
notice
very
her
happy about
suit
that.
looked? It was more power
Yeah.
to what she had. That was
Yeah.
really great.
So that's good. What do you want to talk about?
Well, actually, I also want to talk about Fig a little bit more. In the very beginning, we find out that Fig and Caputo are trying to get pregnant.
Yes.
And I love how this scene was written, because he said things that you cringe and you go, you don't say that to somebody. But as a man,
Mm-hmm.
I know I say stupid things, such as the fashion bug thing.
Yeah.
And I step into it, but I'm not meaning it that way. And that's exactly what was going on there. And then you saw her from the opposite side going, like, getting all touchy to it. And then he was like, hold on. And then she came, like, they met in the middle on that.
Yeah. So it was like a
It made it a
dance. Yeah.
very real
Yeah.
relationship.
And when he was like a permission to
Yeah.
confront,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
approach or
Approach,
whatever. Yeah.
I just really, really loved the interaction there.
Mhm.
I thought it was a very funny way to start the scene. When you see him behind her, just like, he goes, "Can I push it all the way in?" And you're like, "What are they?" Oh, it's a needle.
Yeah. Yep.
That
She's
was
doing
funny.
IVF.
That was funny. And I really loved. Okay, so there was something that was said earlier, and I think this goes to what you just said. There was something said early on when she was still a little bit sore about losing that gig,
Mhm.
and now she's going to be put in charge of ICE.
She's in charge of
For-
the detention center.
Right. So she's not in charge of the inmates. She's in charge of the business end of it there at the ICE facility.
Mhm.
Okay. But she made the comment about, like, oh, well, your 14-year-old, that mentor that you got in there. And he's like, look, she's not 14.
Mhm.
And the thing is, Fig she was sensitive because of what just happened,
Mhm.
and felt hurt that this young person without experience got put in there. But then at the end, when she mentored her, I think that you really see, hey, Caputo likes Ward.
Yeah.
Fig is going to warm up to Ward.
Yes.
Even though she's going to act like she did.
Yeah, but
gonna
she
be giving,
still did it. She still did it.
But she's still, but Fig is rough around the edges.
Yes. And she said that. She goes, if you want my advice, it's going to be direct.
Yeah.
She said something along those lines, and that's absolutely true. So Ward didn't mind. So I think Fig's going to like her a heck of a lot.
Yeah.
And I think she's going to help her. Yeah.
Because you've got the inmates that are going there now to help in the kitchen. So I think that there is going to have to be a give and take between Fig and Ward, and I think that's going to be a really interesting dynamic going forward. One other thing, I really loved that when Fig was talking to Linda, and she just lays it out there. She's like, so she's a diversity hire.
Yeah.
And Linda admits it.
And said she got a huge grant.
Yeah, a diversity grant.
Right.
And she's like, oh, it was so much. And it was like, okay, so we were suspicious that's what this was,
Mhm.
even though she did rock the interview
Yes.
over those other ignoramuses.
Right.
But that's why she was hired. And Fig is like, beat the system.
Right.
That's what she's telling her.
Yeah.
Do your thing. go out in a blaze of glory, but if you did the
Right.
right thing, you did the right thing.
Well, and she said, I was hired because I was a woman.
yeah.
And then I was moved over and hired over there because of whatever, So she's like, what does it matter why you got the job? Just do the job.
Do the job
And
well. Make that mark.
And do what you want with
Yeah.
the job. Don't let them tell you what your parameters are.
I have one more Fig thing.
Okay.
It was just a great line when she and Caputo are talking, and Caputo says something like, I think you're doing this. And she goes, oh, gross. She says under her breath, she goes, oh, gross. I hate when you guess my feelings.
Oh, I know. I love
What a
that.
great
Or
line.
predict. I hate when you predict my feelings.
I wrote down guess.
I'm pretty sure she said predict.
Pretty sure she said guess.
All right.
I am not going to go and watch.
No.
Look at, I'm going to die on this hill.
All
no,
right.
it could be predict. I don't know.
She said predict.
Okay.
I think. All right. Let's
Nobody's
talk.
dying on this hill today.
I want to talk about let me see. I think we should talk about Piper because I don't want to end with her again like we did last time.
Right.
So Piper was doing socialization club at Neri and Cal's apartment.
Right. And she's really into, like, she is now the nanny. She
was
into this. That whole thing with the tinfoil was really funny. She's like, I saw it on the internet for sensory.
Yes.
And they're rubbing the kids on the tinfoil.
Yes. And then the probation officer showed up.
Yeah.
And all the women left her because they don't want a felon in with their
Right.
babies. And so that was the end of that. So Neri's not going to be very happy.
And Piper knew that. That's why she didn't reveal anything.
Right.
Because she knew this was going to happen.
Right. So Piper was told that she had to have a job that actually paid her and gave her W-2s.
Right.
So she had to go to her dad.
That's at the ending we saw her
Yeah.
at her dad's office.
So they started to mend they're starting a
Good.
little bit of a mending there.
Good.
And-
I like that. I like how this was approached because he didn't just give in,
Yes.
but at the same time, she pulled the right card.
Yeah.
Look, all these other things, but bottom line is I'm your daughter.
Right.
And I'm trying to do good here. I'm trying
Yes.
to fix this. And he's like, I'm never going to forget you were in prison. She
Right.
didn't ask him to. She never said, can we get over that?
Right.
She brought up prison, and then she's like, look, you're going to do this because I'm your daughter.
Yeah.
I thought that was done really well.
Agreed.
And what he has her doing, I love when he's like, you think our clients are going to be thrilled about an ex-con going through their credit card statements? And all that?"
Right.
She's like, I'll get coffee. I'll do whatever.
Right.
And he's just having her do the old records. I'm like, you know what? This could be a really good entry point for her.
Absolutely.
She could make some money.
And she has
And he'll get his
something on
50
her
bucks back.
resume that shows that she's employable.
Right.
So if she ever needed to go anywhere
It
else.
could make a big difference for her.
Yeah. And once again, it shows her privilege. It shows why
Yeah,
people
'cause
like Tasty,
You didn't see Tasty
people
get
like
out.
Maritza,
Gloria. They get rejected. They get pushed out.
Alita,
Yeah.
they don't have daddies to run to say, let me work for your corporation.
Yeah, daddy that has a company that
Yeah.
can actually pay you a wage.
Yeah.
They don't have
So
that.
you see that once again, her privilege gives her an advantage that other people don't have.
Yes.
All right, your turn. What do you want to do next?
Okay, I want to talk about the whole Doggett, Suzanne, Tasty, Cindy thing.
Okay.
Because Suzanne is still struggling with what we talked about in the last episode, where she doesn't belong here.
Yes.
She didn't talk about it
And
here,
she's
but
very
she's still stealing pudding.
Yes.
And
That was
she's feeling very isolated, even though
Yeah.
she has Doggett, but she doesn't have
she has Cindy and Tasty separately,
right.
but she wants them all to be friends again, and
Well,
she
she
wants
kind of
justice
does.
for Tasty.
Because Tasty is not warmed up all the way to her.
Right.
And Cindy is now. I mean, Cindy did come clean to the lawyers, which is why they're calling her a rat and all that. Why everyone kind of turned on her. Suzanne doesn't know, or not Suzanne. Tasty doesn't necessarily know that,
Mhm.
and Suzanne is just literally like, I got to get my team back together. I have to have
Yeah.
my friends again.
Well,
the
and
only way I'm
she-
going to make it through here.
But beyond that, I don't know that I think it's more about the justice of it. She wants them to fix it. She wants justice for Tasty.
So you think that's by putting them together?
Yeah.
Okay, I could definitely
Because
see that.
she was doing fine. She had Frida, she has Doggett. She's fine. Nobody's
she
being mean
does
to
miss
her.
these guys.
I understand that, but it's more than that. She wants to make things right, and
yeah, it's not
Tasty
going to be
didn't
right
do
until
it.
they can get together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And figure out a plan, So my favorite was when Doggett just looks at her right when it starts and she's got the puddings and Doggett just goes, "You got to stop taking other people's pudding." I just loved that. I love that she's sort of become her mom.
And then she tried to describe, like, American history is full of pudding thieves. There's dark ones. There's light ones. There's butterscotch. That's the Indians.
Oh
And
my
you're
God.
like, oh my God,
She's so funny.
she's so out there.
But I loved that. And then she's like, "You're pissing off all the old ladies." 'Cause
Yeah,
she
right.
keeps stealing their pudding.
And all of this led up to one of my favorite moments in the series.
Oh yes, I know what you're gonna say.
The Suzanne sock puppet made an appearance.
Oh no, I thought you were gonna say
No. When she starts talking to the sock puppet, come on, I love.
No, that was brilliant. But I thought you
love
were
that.
gonna say when she decides to Parent Trap.
Oh my God, Parent
Cindy
Trap
and
was great, too.
Tasty.
No, the puppet was my favorite thing.
Okay,
But the Parent Trap was,
the Parent Trap
hilarious.
might have been my favorite.
and then Doggett's like, what? Did anything else happen in any of those other movies you ever saw?
Exactly.
Like there's only one plot that ever happened.
Exactly.
But
Well,
it's-
and Doggett obviously has never watched movies. But
Right.
she's like, "Okay, well, in these other movies, did
Did
anything happen
anything-
we can use?
anything
You got
else, No, but
anything?
she goes, did anything else ever happen
Yeah.
in one?
Yeah.
That implies that the only thing that ever happens is variations of the Parent
Parent
Trap.
Trap, yes. So funny. And she does Parent Trap them, and I love Doggett when she brings Tasty the invitation,
Yeah.
and she's like, "You are courageously invited," and Tasty's just like, "Oh my God, it's cordially."
It doesn't say.
Oh my God, it's so
Courageously.
funny, so funny.
Yeah.
And then she gets them
But she had the puppet there too, which to me was funny enough. But when she
when she did it with Suzanne.
did it with
yes.
Suzanne, and Suzanne is she's about
She's
to tell
now
her
gonna tell the
everything
story.
to the puppet.
Yeah.
I love
I do too.
that.
And I totally believe it. And I absolutely think it is in character and perfect.
We should get a puppet to co-host with us. We could get the Martha puppet.
I really don't think we need any more insanity.
I
But
would love it. I love puppets.
when they went to the library, it did not go well, which we knew it wouldn't go well. And Cindy was crying and Tasty was not having any of
No.
it. And
Well, no, you know what?
And-
I think that was the beginning of it starting to mend, though, because Suzanne, when she was like, Doggett's like, I would just beat the crap out of her.
right.
And Sydney's like, do it. Please. Just
Yeah.
like anything to break through this.
But
Suzanne-
Tasty was
Tasty went up and like acted like it, but she didn't. She was like, forget you. But I'm like, yeah. But that all her rage at Cindy, she doesn't want that either.
right.
She's trying to reconcile what happened in her head.
Right.
And then she went out and she got the rage out on Battison.
Right. But at the same time, she wanted to beat the crap out of her. She was saying, essentially saying, I'm not giving you the satisfaction.
Sure.
I am not assuaging your guilt
I
because
think it was
you
both.
gave me a life sentence.
I think it was both. I
Yeah.
think that she
I agree it was both, but I'm saying a huge part of it, and the reason that she went and beat the crap out of Battison was because she was like, I'm not going to do it to you because that's going to make you feel better.
Right. Sure.
So then
Sure.
she
So
went and
maybe I
did it to
misinterpreted,
Battison.
but I think there's a degree of it.
I'm not disagreeing.
But the Battison thing, when she went down to beat the crap out of Battison, you're like, please, everybody beat the crap. Battison is the worst.
yes. Well,
and I don't mean the actress. I don't mean the
No.
character. I like watching the character on here because she is a problem.
she's awful.
But what an awful person
Yes.
she is consistently.
Yes.
And Tasty just beating the crap out of her. You're like, yeah, somebody has to. Somebody has to step up and take this one down. And I love how all that resolved.
So you've got so Tasty goes through the cafeteria. Battison was sitting there, said something about Alex. Tasty thought she was talking about her.
Right.
Battison's like, no, I'm talking about somebody else. And we're cool. Yeah, see, look at us. We're cool. And then Tasty went,
Well, she did more than just work cool. She
Caveman.
started doing her crap.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's my friend.
Yeah.
And Tasty's like, I am not.
Yeah, Tasty wasn't having
I
it.
am done.
She had just come off this bad library experience, and she was not having any of it.
And Madison was beat up from their last encounter still.
The issue that we have to talk about beforehand is McCullough and Alex and Hellman, because it all ties into that
Yes.
moment. So McCullough had, in the last episode, was trying to get Alex to deal for her.
Right. And that,
Okay.
I didn't like that.
No, but we saw now in this episode
It
that
makes so much more sense.
she's not equipped in any way, but she needs the money.
Okay.
So she tried to get her to sell Centrum Senior or something.
When she handed her the bag, I'm like, where did she get heroin? And Alex opens it up and she's like, this one says Centrum on it
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
I'm like, oh my God.
She's like, maybe that people can use a multivitamin.
Yeah, I'm like,
But-
that is the funniest. Like, and she's going, you've got to sell like heroin. Well, where would I get that? She's like, I don't know. Go get it if you want me
Right.
to sell it. But at least, see, now we don't have Alex having to be a drug dealer.
Okay, so hang on.
Okay.
You keep going from
Well,
like
I know because I really,
A to Z. We have to talk about the in between.
you know what? If we had a puppet to calm
Did
them
you have
down-
too much coffee?
No, I haven't had any coffee today.
You're
So,
driving me nuts.
I wish I had pudding and a puppet.
I don't want pudding.
I want a puppet.
A puppet I could arrange, but I'm not getting you pudding. But beyond that, I need you to just take a breath.
Okay,
And
taking a breath.
calm
There
the
was
hell.
just too much in this episode.
Okay.
I got excited.
So McCullough sets up with Alex that she's going to get in her face, and Alex is going to be flushing the drugs down the toilet, and that'll get Hellman off her back. And it worked. The problem was they lost $1,500 worth of heroin.
Right.
Because she actually flushed it down the toilet.
Right.
And Alex was actually upset by that. She was saying, well, you had me really flush it. Alex was willing to sell that. She would have sold that for McCullough.
Right. For McCullough.
So
sure.
when you say it got Alex away from being a drug dealer, Alex was still willing to be a drug dealer.
Well, she was willing because she is caught over a barrel here. So when she sees like, okay,
I don't agree with that.
I think that Alex realized like, okay, you're the one who's going to make me do this. We're going to do it right. I think that's what it was. And then when McCullough screwed it up, it's like, you made me flush these. We could have made this money off of this because Alex's business part of her
Yes.
can't deal with it.
Yeah.
Does she want to be a drug dealer? No, she's trying to stay clean. She has said that so many times.
Yeah. But the bottom line is she was still choosing it, and she would have if McCullough would get her the drugs.
Yes.
So I am not calling Alex innocent or without a choice here, because
True.
she had choices, and even with what what their resolution was not drug related, she still was willing before that to sell the drugs.
Sure.
So
sure.
my point is there were always options with McCullough,
Right.
not options with Hellman. So McCullough her plan did work. It got Hellman off her back. The problem was Battison realized that Alex was her biggest issue
Right.
and the reason that Tasty beat her up.
Right.
So she went to Hellman and tried to recruit him to get Alex transferred.
Right.
And Hellman
Had just been burned.
actually
by Alex.
did
Right.
try to get, and so he went to Ward and tried. He even filled out all the paperwork for it. Just sign it,
Right.
to get Alex transferred. And then Ward blindsided them both.
Right. That was the end.
And
And she was like, you're
Transferred
right. There's a
Battison.
problem, but it's not Voss.
exactly
The one who's at the center of it every time
is
Battison.
Battison. Yeah, so that was awesome.
So she got her transferred to Missouri.
Yes.
And okay, that also was a great moment, which we will get to when we talk about our kitchen friends.
All right, well, we're almost there. We need to go to Maritza and Blanca, and then we can work our way to Red and everybody.
Okay.
All right. So Maritza and Blanca are together
Yes.
in the detention center, and Maritza's upset that all of this played out, and she was like, I am actually a citizen. I was born here, but I have no access to any of my papers or anything. And the phones, every single thing is set up for them to be isolated,
Right.
and not allowed contact with the outside world. They have no phone calls, no lawyers. They have no they can use a phone if they have money, and if it works.
Right.
And the kiosk doesn't work.
Right. The kiosk is broken. They have no way of contacting the outside world.
And when Maritza was saying at first, she's like, okay, I can call my sisters. I have 2 sisters or my mom. And I said out loud, like, oh my God, I'd be screwed. I don't know phone numbers.
Right.
And she said the same thing. She goes, oh no, except I don't know any of their phone numbers, because we're so used to having everything programmed that I'd be screwed, which makes me now want to go memorize 1 or 2 phone numbers, but I really don't feel like it. But, so I'm just going to hope that nothing happens to me, but, that isolates me from the rest of the world. But anyway, I think that, that was really interesting, because I do think a lot of people don't know. When we were kids, we had to memorize phone numbers all the time, because there wasn't any other way of connecting, but now, why would anyone need to memorize them?
Yeah, you don't.
So that was kind of scary that they're so isolated. And then we saw the backstory for
for
Blanca. So you want to talk about that?
Well, she had also said before they went to the backstory that she and Diablo were broken up.
Yes. Well, she didn't say those words.
Right.
She said, we're done.
We're done. Right. And then we see this backstory, and we see the day she got her green card.
Yep.
And they have this big celebration, and it's the first time she told Diablo she loved him. And then he's like, oh my gosh, I'm so intimidated by you. I've been waiting. I can finally say it. Like, I love them together.
Yes. And who would have thought that back in the beginning when she was being all creepy in the bathroom, talking to Diablo every time. I mean, it was like and peeing herself and doing all that, that she'd become one of our favorite people with Diablo.
It really changed with her character for me when we saw the backstory of her with the old woman.
Yes.
Not this episode. I'm talking a couple seasons ago.
Yes.
Where all of a sudden we went from, she's got this crazy hair, she pees herself, she's like in the bathroom with the phones all the time, to all of a sudden it was like, oh, we're only seeing this sliver of this person.
She got really screwed over by this old lady.
Yeah, and now we understand. And here, the fact the old woman hit some mail carrier.
My God, did you see the car?
There was blood all over it.
And it was all wrapped up.
And she's like, did you stop? She's like, oh, I wasn't going to get caught. You empty this out. It was like.
You know how many people we know like that?
And
that's scary.
4. And the reason.
No, I mean, we don't know that many.
No, I know.
But there are people
that would not stand up to
that entitled and self-absorbed.
Which is crazy.
And just don't care about anybody else.
Some person is either badly injured or killed, and all that woman cared about was that she got her rolls for 12 for $1.
And she blamed him. He walked into my car.
Right.
Oh my gosh. And she did not care. And then they said, well, did you call an ambulance? She goes, no, I got out of there before anyone saw that I was involved. Like, it is so disgusting.
Yeah, it was awful. And then she was like trying to protect the woman. She knew that was wrong, but she was like, look, I'm gonna just spray this off of here. That's what she went to jail for.
Yeah.
And it's awful.
It's awful.
It's awful.
And now she's stuck in this detention center.
And it kept showing these flashbacks, and I kept thinking, when did they break up?
Well, then they showed her in ICE in the
Right.
detention center in the holding area.
Right. And, he
And
came
she
down
got to call
her.
Diablo, and he came to her, and she was all the way out in Arizona, and she's like, they just keep moving me around. They just keep moving us around with
Right.
no rhyme or reason. Yet another way that they isolate them,
Right.
and they break up the families, and
Yep.
they can't get back to each other
Yep.
because they don't know where anybody is.
Nobody can tell what's going
and
on.
it's sick. It is
Yeah, and
freaking disgusting.
It's by design, too. It's not something that's randomly happening.
It is awful.
Yeah.
And so he came, and they met up, and then we see the ICE
Yep.
officers come and arrest him.
Yep. And we don't know if Diablo's green card is valid or not. He's claiming that it's expired. He's waiting for his new one. We don't know if that's 100% true or not,
Mhm.
but they don't care.
Right.
They took him. We don't know where he is.
Right.
We don't know anything. And
And
that's why she's so depressed.
That's why she said we're
And
done.
Did you catch at the beginning of the episode when she was laying there? She had her face was bruised. Her face was bruised because when they shoved her on
Yeah.
the table in that scene.
Absolutely.
That is awful.
Yeah. Yep.
Awful.
Just horrifying.
But at least she and Maritza have each other.
yes.
She is definitely warming up to Maritza.
Yes.
They're going to need each other to get through this. And you're finding out it's just like when they're at Litchfield, there are vipers all over the place.
Yeah.
You know, that the woman who overheard their thing waited for that
Mhm.
opportunity. Here's my $12 card, but you're going to put 30 back on it.
Yep.
Like they're not your friends here. There are
Mhm.
some that are probably, there are probably a lot of people that are decent people, but there are also,
Did you
it's
mean
people.
vultures?
no, vipers, like
Okay.
snakes.
Okay.
No, there's snakes everywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, man,
It's awful.
it's so
But
awful.
there's hope. Okay, so in the meantime, the kitchen staff is all gone, and because of the ice,
Right.
so they said you need to go get the inmates because we need free labor
Right.
or cheap labor or
Right.
whatever the case may be, extra cheap. So Copeland goes to Red first, and she says, you can have the kitchen. We need you to put a team together. And Red says no.
Right.
And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like they
She's
broke Red to
so
the point
depressed.
that she wouldn't jump at the chance to get with her people again and
Right.
go do the kitchen and distract yourself and get to cook again. Like she's that far gone. So Gloria comes, then she says, go to ask Gloria. Give it to Mendoza.
Right.
So Gloria comes to her and gives her that awesome pep talk. I loved
And
that.
Red's like, I love when Red though after the pep talk, and she's like she tells her, I don't know how you're not broken in there and everything, and how the shoe didn't break you, and Mendoza does that beautiful pep talk. And then Red's like, I'll do it. I'll be the captain and you'll be the coach.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
like, really?
Yeah, that
Like-
was so funny. But then she did it,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
So my favorite scene was seeing the team they put together
Yes.
and seeing them back,
Lorna, Nikki,
uh,
Flocka,
Flocka and Red and Gloria.
Mendoza. Yeah.
And I absolutely love that. I cannot wait to see them all
Well,
in
and
the kitchen.
Did you realize they were taking them to the ICE detention?
Yes.
See, I didn't realize that when they first approached them.
Absolutely.
It wasn't until they were taking them outside, and I was like, "Oh, they're going to be the kitchen staff."
Well, they
at
said
ICE.
that.
Well, you know what?
This time I'm on.
I was not on it, so I was surprised at that point. And then when the thing came up and it said federal corrections, I'm like, "Oh, okay." They go, "Is that for us? Where are we going?" They have no idea. And they're like, it's not for you.
Yeah. And out comes bad.
Bloodied because
And she is not
Tasty
happy.
is beating her up. Yeah, and they're like, "You're going to Missouri," and she's like, "No,
I don't
who's
know
going with me? I don't know
anybody."
anybody." They're like,
Yeah, I don't know anybody in Missouri. It's like too
tough.
damn bad.
"Yeah, you had some hand here,
Yeah.
no more."
Yeah.
So her story, I don't think we're going to see Battison again.
No, just like we never got to see Lolly again, or
Yeah,
some of the
they're
other ones
gone.
who have left.
Yeah, she's
Yeah, they
gone.
don't continue unless they send Piper over there, or somebody, like that, then they don't show them again.
They might give us something at the very end
Mhm.
to show some of the characters that like that we didn't get resolution on. But I think our resolution is she's gone and she's screwed.
Yeah. So I'm dying to see how the kitchen goes because
Yeah.
and so the best part is that there is hope now for Blanca and Maritza
Right.
because 5 of their people are
Well,
now
and
there in the building.
They had just said nobody knows we're here.
Right.
And they're like the only 2 together, and they're both like terrified.
Yes.
And then the camera kind of went, and you saw through the slit of the door, the little slide window, you saw
Red
the 5 of
and,
them
yep.
walking in. But see, what's crazy is they may know it's an ICE detention center, but they don't know what the hell's going on.
Right.
When they put
They
them in
didn't
that
know it
kitchen,
existed.
They put them in the kitchen. Even the thing was closed. They're
Mhm.
like, where are we? Like they're on another planet. We're in a
Mhm.
kitchen. What the hell? So
Mhm.
when that door opens and they see Blanca and Maritza, it's going to be like, holy cow.
Especially Flocka, that's her best friend.
Right.
Aren't they like best friends, right?
Yes.
So that's going to be really good. And hopefully then they can go back and make phone calls
Yes.
and do something.
Do
and say, we
something.
have them here. She's a U.S.
Well,
citizen.
they can also talk to Ward
Yes.
so that Ward understands what's going on over there, and she can talk to Fig. Like there is potential.
Yes.
Whereas up to this point,
There was nothing.
there's nothing.
Yeah.
And Fig, when she walked through there, seemed creeped out by it. Like,
Why are
this
they so
isn't right.
docile?
Yeah,
And what is
this
going
isn't
on?
right.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to play an important part in it's obviously they're not going to close the detention center. This is
No.
still going on in real life.
Right.
But for these couple of characters, I think we might get some resolution for them.
Agree.
Is that it?
Yes. And I got to go watch the next
My
one.
gosh, I'm ready for the
Because
next
I'm
one.
dying to see them in the kitchen.
Yeah, I am totally ready. Well, that's it. Follow us on Twitter at Orange Podcast. Follow us on Facebook. Orange is the New Black Podcast. Get in conversation with us. Send us an email at southgatemediagroup@gmail.com. All of this is in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Now, inmates, back to your cells.